All right, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Helpful Snowman Radio. This is going to be our first episode we've ever done that is it's listenable via audio. I'm going to do my best to make sure that that's possible. But it also has a video version. Started with a cough right away. Isn't that nice? The reason for this is that today's topic is very visual. But I don't think you'll have to see the visuals in order to understand what I'm saying and, enjoy it in whatever way you normally enjoy this show. So here's the deal. The state of Illinois decided they needed a new flag for whatever reason. I guess many states could use a new flag or could just not use a new flag. It's a little bit of a, I don't know. It feels to me a little like, I've been with my wife for 25 years and, sometimes you just wonder what else might be out there. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess comparing changing the state flag to leaving your spouse is not totally fair, but whatever. So what they did is they opened it up to the public, which, famously really never works. Like, I think we all remember when the ship was named Boaty McBoatface, and, there was a snowplow that I think had some kind of stupid name. And my favorite tale that I recall is Mountain Dew asking people to name their new flavor and then vote, on names. And one of the submitted names for this new flavor of Mountain Dew, which who knows what it tasted like, was Hitler Did Nothing Wrong, which is, probably not a winner. It's not very descriptive. I mean, to be fair, Mountain Dew itself, just vanilla Mountain Dew, by which I don't mean Mountain Dew with vanilla, but like regular Mountain Dew doesn't taste like something that I would think, I'm walking along in the mountains and there's dew on a leaf or something and I lick it off and I'm like, if that's what a leaf you lick in the mountains tastes like, you should probably get to a hospital as quickly as possible. So anyway, but Illinois decided to open it up and whatever, and they took flag submissions online. Now, where this gets very interesting is I guess they, released some, basically they went through them and they were like, okay, let's put out the good ones and, probably put out some like feel good ones, that it's like, well, obviously a kid drew this with crayons, but it's fun, right? But then somebody wanted to see all of them. And I don't know exactly how the process went, but I'm assuming that they were told no at first because they then filled out a Freedom of Information Act form. So I don't know exactly how those work, but I can tell you we have something in Colorado called CORA, the Colorado Open Records Act. And basically what it means is any person can request government records, right? And those have to be turned over in sort of like a reasonable time frame in a reasonable format and so on and so forth. So that doesn't mean like, for example, that you could see all of my what do you call them, progress reports or whatever, the things that you get at work where they're like, yeah, you're doing fine, and I wish as your boss I didn't have to make this, but it's part of my job. You couldn't see all of that stuff necessarily, but you could see things like if you wanted to know the salary ranges of everyone at work, or importantly, because you're a taxpayer, your money basically creates the system by which I communicate with the public, right? It pays for Microsoft Outlook. So technically you could request to see like emails I'd sent regarding a certain topic or, communicating with a certain individual or something like that. And as long as those didn't contain like personal information, you could see that. This is something you always kind of have in the back of your mind as a government employee, because you're like, well, technically a lot of my stuff is public information. Just about everything is technically public information. So I'm guessing that a FOIA request goes the same way as a CORA request. And this person filled it out And so what was released to the world is 4,000 some entries that were submitted for the Illinois new flag. So, as you can imagine, many people took this as an opportunity to troll or do bizarre things. And your hero, for the moment, me, took the time to scroll through all 4,000 and however many flags and take a look at them. Now, before we get started on this, I'm just going to give you some caveats. I picked out the ones that I wanted to talk about. Most of them are stupid or weird or presented in a weird way for some reason that I will wildly speculate on. There were many excellent entries, and I've only highlighted a few that I think are good, just because, we'll get to those when we get to them. But the way I'm going to present this today will make it appear that like everyone in Illinois is insane. And that's not true. There were many good entries, and there were many entries that I was like, that looks like a state flag to me. So there are many, many excellent entries. And just wanted to start there. I'm not going to pick on too many that were clearly done by children or seemingly done by children. Because, like a kid drawing the flag for their state, and it's like, well, they drew a deer on it and it looks like shit. Yeah, I'm not going to make fun of a kid for that, right? That's not fair to be like, look at this idiot. Drew this flag. It looks like garbage. So there are a ton submitted by kids because clearly what happened was a teacher would have their entire class submit them, right? So there are a bunch in that category. There are lots of themes. I don't think one thing that I didn't save, but I don't think I saved any, but we'll see. There were a lot of pumpkin flags, which was cool. And I was like, these should be adapted for like an official flag of Halloween contest. But apparently Illinois is like the biggest producer of pumpkins in the United States, which I didn't know. So there were tons of flags with pumpkins on them. So I think that's most of the sort of pre-discussion that we need to have. So let's just jump in and we'll see what we cover as we go. So my first one that I bookmarked was flag number 6. I don't know. I'm kind of suspicious that these are presented in this document in the order in which they were received, because there are some duplicates and they do seem very close to each other, if not next to each other. Also because I would say most of the trolling flags happened at the beginning and the end and not in the middle, which makes me suspicious about the timing. So this is a flag which is a picture of a Chicago-style hot dog, which I was already kind of into. But then the person who did this flag, okay, so each entry, it's like your relationship to Illinois. And I think there were, you could probably check a box that said something like, I have lived in Illinois my whole life or something. That's what most of them say, is something like that. And then the other thing is explain the meaning behind your flag. Now, this is where this one was interesting to me because they said the 21 poppy seeds on the hot dog bun represent Illinois being the 21st state of the Union. And I was already like, well, that's actually pretty thoughtful. I wouldn't have noticed that there were 21 poppy seeds, and it's kind of hilarious and great. The blue and green backgrounds represent 75% of the state border comprising of water and 25% land. Again, yeah, thoughtful. The hot dog with toppings represents the agriculture and meat processing industries from the state, vital in feeding our nation and the world. Now, here's the big question. I don't know if this is a troll, and then they were like, I'm going to make this as legit as possible, or if this is a genuine, what would you call it? Non-cynical sort of thing. I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes, but I was like, this is a strong start, flag number 6. And I was like, honestly, pretty good argument and not an unhandsome flag. This brings us to flag number 9, which is a picture of Bluey from the cartoon Bluey. And the flag is the entirely the light blue of Bluey. And below him it says Illinois in what looks to be a Bluey font. Relationship to Illinois. I don't have much of a relationship with Illinois. I just always wanted to participate in a state flag design competition. You know what? That's never something I've thought of having on a bucket list, but I'm going to write that down right now. State flag contest. Because this person's right. We should all participate in something like that one time, right? I'm trying to think of something that I have related to Illinois, but I don't have anything, and I'm not going to lie and say I have family there. I appreciate the honesty. Explain the meaning behind your flag. The Blue Heeler cartoon dog represents the below average rate of dogs in Illinois and the need for more. Okay. It also represents Australia's looming takeover of young America's minds. The blue background represents Illinois' blue sky. The word Illinois, written in Hello Headline font, represents Illinois and the clouds. The scroll has the words state sovereignty. Oh, he has a scroll. That's what he's holding. The scroll has the words state sovereignty, national Bluey written on it, which serves as a tribute to the old flag. This is a funny troll to me because this person put some work into this. You know what I mean? It's not thoughtless. It may even have a gradient to the background, which is, impressive. Okay. Flag number 19 is what appears to be the old Illinois flag in a background, and over the top of it is the text, "Want to make history. The Illinois Flag Commission is seeking input in redesigning the state's 55-year-old flag." I am assuming that this is the image that was on the website, so that when you wanted to enter the flag making contest, this is what you could pick. Yeah, that must be what this is. Relationship to Illinois is just the letter I. Explain the meaning behind your flag. It just says you, Y-O-U. So this person screenshotted the website for the flag design contest and submitted that as their flag, which is a weird, very weird move. I don't understand. It's like a weird art project, but probably not, right? It's probably giving too much credit. Okay. Flag number 33. Bright green. You know the green slime color you'd find on a 90s website? And then it has a goblin on it that looks kind of like the Cheddar Goblin from the movie Mandy. Above him in a very plain font, it says Illinois, and below it says it's Goblin Good. G-O-B-L''I-N good. The goblin's holding a plate with the outline of the state of Illinois on it, and there looks to be maybe a seal of the state of Illinois. Very crazy looking. Let's see. Relationship to Illinois. I am a resident of Illinois. I was born and raised here. This is the state where I work and raise my family. Okay. Explain the meaning behind. So this is an adult flag, by the way, made by an adult, not with adult material. We'll get to that. Explain the meaning behind your flag. The green background color represents our state's beautiful prairies. All right. Then we get right to the goblin represents the uplifting spirit of our citizens, always hungry to achieve our dreams and goals. The state sealed dish represents our state's government and the guidance and support it provides. The state of Illinois that is being consumed represents the nourishment that this state provides to its people. The text simply displays what is true. And then they put in asterisk. Please note that this is obviously an unserious submission. Asterisk. Which is hilarious because, I guess this person submitted this and then had some concern that it may actually be selected. You know what I mean? This person submitted this asinine flag and was kept up one night thinking, holy shit, what if this gets picked? What will I do? Flag 39 is just an Abraham Lincoln hat with the year 1818 under it. I just picked this one because there is a lot of Abraham Lincoln stuff in here. And I don't think I picked many of them, but I just wanted to say this is like a huge motif in this this flag contest. People are very proud of Abraham Lincoln, which, you know, by most accounts, I think they should be. But I got to say this. I think in our modern age, it is foolish to name anything after a person. I don't care if it's a building. I don't care if it's like a single bookshelf in the library. I think when you name something after a person, you know, you're just setting yourself up for... Do I think it's likely that Abraham Lincoln is going to suddenly be revealed to have been a sex pest in, you know, the past? No, I don't think that's likely. But is it impossible? No. I feel like if we invent time travel, that will be like one of the primary uses, is to be like, let's take everyone down a peg or something. I don't know. It's like a hobby, right? We could just watch Abraham Lincoln all the time and then be like, ugh. I did read a biographical comic book about Abraham Lincoln, and it would seem that for a time he shared a room with another man, which was fine. That didn't seem to be any implication there. But there was one particular sequence where the other guy, he was sharing and they shared a room and they both slept in the same bed. I don't think together. It was like they did, you know, swapping out. But there was one night where like Abraham Lincoln was going to bed and his roommate had just banged a prostitute in the bed, I believe, a sex worker, whatever. And, you know, Abraham Lincoln gets in the bed and he's like happy because the bed is warm. And I was like, how cold and miserable does your life have to be that you're like, I'm so glad that this, you know, non-family person that I share a bed with banged somebody in this bed because it warmed it up a little bit. That is a rough life. The amount of luxury we have today is, you know, I often am like, ugh, everything's horrible right now. But once in a while you read something like that and you're just like, if that's the small pleasure of your life, like my life is so much better than I think. All right. Flag number 59 is kind of interesting. It kind of looks like flag number 54, which I'm going to go up to. It's a little bit of a kitchen sink flag. We've got Abraham Lincoln. It also represents the indigenous people of Illinois, who should be acknowledged as our first residents. I think this person's trying to do a good thing. But he picked a picture of a Native American fellow that I feel the red skin tone could be toned down a bit. You know what I mean? I don't want to be overly sensitive about this. And maybe I'm wrong. But, you know, I would probably get into Photoshop and just, like, adjust the color just a little. You know what I mean? Maybe if you're submitting a flag like this and you're going to put a Native American person on it, maybe go too far in reducing the red. You know what I mean? Force somebody else to do the decision of like, we could bump up the redness a little and I think they would look more like a person, as opposed to being like, holy crap, we need to tone down the red. You know, we do not want a Chief Wahoo situation here. Let's see. I need to zoom out so that this thing will actually work. I don't know where this bookmark's trying to take me. I can't tell. Oh, there we go. Flag number 73. This starts off okay. There's like a flower, which I assume is like the state flower. And the background is black, which is an unusual choice. And there's I think it's a cardinal. It's the state bird. This appears on many things. Although the bird is shooting a green laser beam out of its eye, which is hitting the left side of the flag and like making a little explosion-y looking thing. The meaning behind the flag: the laser beam projects a powerful image of Illinois. I believe my design is so powerful it does not need to be discussed. I agree. So we'll move on. Here's a second one of a bird also shooting a laser out of its eye. But this one has a little bit more to it. It's got 3 stripes, white on top, blue in the middle, and then brown at the bottom, and then a city skyline in black over the brown stripe. The red bird is just kind of an outline silhouette in the center of the flag shooting a green laser. There's some kind of faces in the upper left corner. I don't know what that is, but I assume it's going to explain. The white and blue color is inspired by the Centennial flag, while the brown represents the Dave Matthews Band incident, which is fondly remembered to Illinoisians. The bird is a northern cardinal, the Illinois state bird. It destroying the Chicago skyline represents how the city is often overrepresented and other cities didn't get the representation deserved. The CG Pog emojis pays tribute to Gavin Atack, which is the most legendary Chicagoan and symbolize how Illinois is a very POG state. I have no idea what any of that means. By the way, just as a note, I may come across something like, for all I know, this is deeply offensive in some way, a POG state. I don't know what the hell that means, so I apologize in advance if it is. The Dave Matthews Band incident is funny. If you don't know, they dumped their tour bus sewage on a bridge, and the bridges in Chicago that go over the river are like perforated metal, and there are often tour boats that are on the river, and there happened to be a tour boat under the bridge when the sewage was dumped, unfortunately for them. So, Dave Matthews screwed that up. You've got your bridge, I got my poop. Okay. Flag 98 is a straight up just a photo of a burrito on a paper plate. It's a pretty good looking burrito, though. They clearly cooked the outside of the tortilla, like they wrapped it up and maybe put it in a press or put it on a flat top or something. Explain the meaning behind your flag. It's the burrito I had's for lunch. Lunchs. Not lunches, lunch. This is also a vertical oriented photo, so, non-traditional in that respect. Flag number 100 is a picture of a French bulldog. Explain the meaning behind your flag. This is my dog's and she's happy's. Now, this is not like a particularly awesome photo. It's just the dog in a living room on a gray carpet. This person likes the color gray a lot. They've got gray dog, gray carpet, gray wall, looks like gray entry tile. A lot of gray. I mean, take the time and cut the dog out, you know what I mean, and put them on a colored background. Also, kind of annoying because one of the dog's front paws is just barely cut off of the photo. This is one of my pet peeves is when it's like, it's just barely not in there. 102 is basically the same thing, different dog, except the meaning behind the flag is, this thing's is a little stupids, my other dog, smiley emoji. I want this to be the Chicago flag because this thing's a little stupids. Fair enough. Here's 110. It's a picture of sort of, looks like a very MS Paint picture. There are pumpkins, there's a train, there's someone standing in a field, there's the Chicago skyline, and there's a gas station. Relationship to Illinois, resident and taxpayer. Whenever they mention taxes, not a good sign, mostly. Explain the meaning behind your flag. At the bottom, we got corn because we are a corn state. Then above that, there's a tourist licking the bean. I think... Okay, we got corn. Oh, okay. The person standing in the field has a tiny tongue that's coming out because they are licking the famous Cloud Gate, a.k.a. the bean. Above that, we have John Hancock, Sears Tower, and Trump Tower, the 3 staples of the Chicago skyline, because everything in Illinois loves Chicago. Then to the left, we have the famous gas prices. I don't know if that means high. I'm guessing it's high. It appears they're listed as $5 and 11 cents and $6 and something else. Below that, we have pumpkins. Next to that, we have the CTA red line. Trump Tower, by the way, is instead of being in black silhouette, is in like a Chicago blue. Interesting. It's hard for me to tell if this is like a criticism of the city or not. I mean, it kind of seems like it. You know, someone licking the bean is weird. And the gas prices. I wasn't aware of Illinois' famous gas prices, I guess. Looking through these was an interesting, like, cultural experiment because it was like, what do people think Illinois is? You know what I mean? You really got an idea of what people thought Illinois was. 129. This appears to be Abe Lincoln on the back of a mastodon. This flag depicts Abraham Lincoln riding a woolly mammoth. Excuse me, I got my animals wrong. Abe, who is the subject of our state motto, Land of Lincoln, represents honesty and virtue. Yeah, okay, asshole. Like, you don't need to tell us about the Abraham. No one looking at this, it's a tiny Abraham Lincoln atop a giant woolly mammoth. Nobody looking at this is like, what's the symbolism of the Abraham Lincoln part? That I got. The mammoth is an example of one of the most impressive creatures that roamed our state in its prehistory. The white background is an homage to the previous state flag, where the white separated it from the typical seal on blue bedsheet. I like how this person is saying, well, I didn't want to use a blue background because this would be too typical. This Abraham Lincoln riding a mastodon would be too typical if we used a blue background. That would be insane. Here's 146. So whoever looked at these did redact faces and names sometimes. I'm looking at a picture of a man who is, he has a giant belly. He has no shirt on, but he is wearing suspenders. And it's just basically a picture that's mostly dominated by his belly. It kind of looks like, if you can imagine, if you were staring one of the hungry hippos right in the face, his belly and then his jugs on top of it kind of look like two eyes. And the meaning of behind the flag is because Illinois is funny. I'm suspicious that this isn't a picture of the person who submitted it. I'm suspicious this is like if I Google fat guy suspenders, this comes up. Okay, here's a 164 looks like a sort of meme face mixed with a squirrel. A shouting meme face, maybe a Nicolas Cage face mixed with a squirrel. And it said, they explain the meaning is it's a glistening nuts, though. This is one of the ones that I'm like, I don't know what this means. For all I know, this is some horrific white power nonsense, but I just do not know what this is. 175 is a pink background with two flames on opposite sides of a poorly cut out cat's face. And below it in light blue is the word Illinois, Illinoise. And annoyingly, the circle of the O and the circle on the lowercase e is not filled in, so it's white instead of pink, even though it's on a pink background. The meaning. My cat is the greatest in existence. Plus, Illinois is also fire because the state fire, and also pink because why not? Also, J.B. Pritzker, please give me $4 trillion. I will say this, there were some interesting spellings of the state name Illinois. I know it's not the easiest, but it's not that long. Next, we've got 185, which is a red picture of Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln's face is sort of superimposed over the image of the state Illinois. It's got a sort of weird rainbow hologrammy looking background like you would expect to find in a tapestry at a head shop that you would hang in your window. And it's got some, I believe, Chinese characters that I do not know what they mean. The flag has a rainbow background celebrating the vibrant LGBTQ culture in Illinois, okay, as well as the racial and ethnic diversity that makes this state great. The Chinese text is there to represent our fantastic Chinese community, the largest in the Midwest. It reads peace and joy, independent nation, which is what this state should aspire to be. In the center is an outline of the great state itself with our most famous person, Abraham Lincoln, blushing to honored to be on this flag. I see he's got like pink lines, and that's him blushing because he's so humble, I guess. You know, not the worst thing to be, but okay. Let's see. Background color is seaweed green. Oh, okay. This is a pencil drawing that's just black and white, and someone explains all the colors things would be, I guess, if colors were available. I mean, how hard up do you have to be that you can't use color in any way? You know what I mean? You couldn't give this kid some colored pencils? For God's sake. I mean, maybe this should be the state flag because it'll make them think like, man, if we're like so poorly funding these schools that, you know, we can't even give them colors, for God's sake. Here's 207. This is what appears to be an incorrectly proportioned rectangle, so it's much longer and thinner than it should be. And it's a basically like the Soviet Union's flag, except and it has the hammer and sickle and a star, and it says Illinois State of Suppression. There's a bunch of stuff about, you know, who they are, but let's do the meaning behind your flag. I have lived in this wonderful state my entire life of 63 years. During that 63 years, I have watched the degradation and freedoms lost in this state. All right. Usually Chicago or East St. Louis are mentioned, but the rest of the state is penalized for these people behaving poorly. Then those in charge are blaming the tools used and not the minds of those doing evil. Ellipses, which, you know, there's like 10. I'm submitting what Illinois actually represents as it has fallen to. Illinois has become a state of suppression of the people. It's very vague. I don't know why you wouldn't be more specific. Although I have my suspicions about why you wouldn't be more specific because, you know, that would be racist. 272 is Abraham Lincoln shooting laser eyes and burning a Confederate flag with his laser eyes. Lots of laser eyes. I mean, explain it, but, you know, you don't really need to explain it. The only part that I would highlight is Lincoln would be proud to fly this beautiful banner commemorating his achievements. I guess so. I mean, I think if Abraham Lincoln saw this, he would be sort of shocked. I don't think he would understand it. He does not have the context for... I'm a little shocked about the number of laser eye flags in here, so I have to believe Abraham Lincoln would have somewhat of a hard time with it. Let's see. 298 is kind of the old Illinois flag, but this is round. And it's an eagle eating sort of a cartoony snake. And it says the old no step on snake, you know, don't tread on me sort of joke thing. And the person says, explain the meaning behind your flag. It is self-explanatory. I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I don't, you know, I understand the sort of like meme culture, no step on snake thing. I think that's somebody making fun of don't tread on me. But I'm not sure what that has to do with Illinois. And I'm also a little annoyed because it's not someone stepping on the snake. It's the eagle holding the snake in its beak. But the snake looks to be very much alive and fine. You know, it's got half-lidded eyes, which suggests to me a state of calmness. So I'm gonna require a little explanation here. 309 is one of my favorites. It's a flag that has top and bottom bars that are beige with black dots. Then going from bottom to top, we've got a green layer, a white layer, a thin yellow layer, another lighter green layer, and a red layer. And basically, I'll read you the meaning. The colors represent the proud Chicago-style hot dog. beige for the bun and celery salt, carmine for the tomato and Vienna beef, chartreuse for pickles and sport peppers, citrine for the mustard, white for the onions, and Kelly green for the relish. The 21 black dots represent poppy seeds, as well as Illinois' inclusion as the 21st state. The citrine stripe of the mustard also represents corn and malort. Beautiful. I mean, I'm in favor of it. I love it. I think it's more a city of Chicago flag than a state of Illinois. You know, I think that was something you're seeing in this flag and a problem they're having. It's not really a problem, but it's like Illinois is definitely perceived as a state of Chicago and then other stuff, right? It's like, well, I live in Illinois. Oh, do you live in Chicago or not Chicago? But I like this flag. I like the design of it. I think it's fun. 342 appears to be a picture of a child wearing a real firefighter helmet, you know, probably on a tour in a firehouse. And the kid's face has been, has a black bar in front of it. Annoyingly, the black box in front of his face has two white borders along two of its four sides. I don't know how you make a box like this, but somebody did. So this is just a photo, and it says, relationship. I'm a resident of Illinois for 31 plus years. This is a waste of time, money, and effort by the state. Spend your time and money on worthwhile projects for the state that benefit all residents. Explain the meaning. We do not need a new flag. It's a waste of time. The current one is fine. You know, I don't totally disagree. I mean, the current flag is dumb. It's, you know, it's not great. But at the same time, I'm like, you know, who cares? It's not like an offensive flag, to my knowledge, or from what I can tell. But what's funny about this is this person is complaining about wasting resources and is doing so by wasting more resources. All right, 351. Let's see. Okay, you know, there's the pride flag, which is a rainbow. And I think more modern iterations of the pride flag also have the sort of triangle element that has like the trans flag and a brown and black part, which may be a racial identity thing. I'm not sure. And then in the smallest triangle, this person has put a red field with the communist hammer and sickle. I'm not sure that this is the same person who did the other Illinois commie flag, but I'm suspicious. Relationship to Illinois. I'm a lifelong resident of this once great state of Illinois. 3 generations of my family have lived here, and I've watched it deteriorate into anarchy, chaos, high taxes, and overregulation to the point that it is almost uninhabitable. The best thing that can happen is to redesign the flag. Yes, I'm sure that will solve everything, because that flag does not represent what we have become. Explain the meaning behind your flag. My flag design represents the current culture in Illinois and represents all the diverse people of Illinois. That doesn't sound so bad. And it includes a universally well-known symbol of equity, because that's something the state is trying to achieve for all its citizens, no matter how much wealth needs to be redistributed to people that didn't earn it and will never be productive citizens. Nailed it. You know, what's funny is, like, I actually kind of enjoy these sort of trolling flags or whatever. But like when someone does something like this and it's like they're trying to make some kind of point, and I'm like, you know, just some clerk who works at the, you know, government office has to go through all these, right? Like nobody is like, yeah, you tell them. Okay, 358 is pretty lousy, and I suspect is one that was done by a kid. So I'm not really making fun of the flag, but it's the submission of the picture, which is, most of these are, you know, a digital image. Some of them are a picture that was taken. So someone will take some time and like lay a piece of paper down on a table and try to take the best sort of cropped picture they can. This one is somebody holding up the picture, and you can see the person's hand, you know, is curled around the paper. And you can see they have, you know, pretty well manicured fingernails, so that's something. But like their hand is covering up, not a lot, but maybe 10% of the flag. And you can see in the lower left-hand side, their face behind the flag, and they're like sort of trying to duck out of the way of the picture and sort of not. This looks like a classroom. I can see the drop ceiling in the background. What I think is funny about this is I'm like, well, clearly you had the means to take a picture of the flag. Why would you do it this way? This is the worst way to take this picture of all. Also, Illinois is spelled L-L-I-N-O-I-S. Just forget the first I guess. No worries. Well, let's see. Okay. 382 is a child's drawing of a turtle with the word Illinois spelled correctly. I would say the turtle's expression is not happy but not sad, which, is pretty normal for a turtle. My flag represents the great turtles of our state. Illinois is home to several different turtle species. This flag shows what Illinois is all about. Now, I don't have a lot to say about this one, but let's just keep this one in mind for a moment and we will come back to it. Okay, here's a pumpkin one. Tara, this looks like a piece of art from helpfulsnowman.com. Like, it just looks like the kind of album art I put on these podcasts. And if someone made a flag like this, I would be upset because I'd be like, they're ripping off my style. Let's see. Oh, okay. Flag 420, funny enough, is a weird sort of aqua gradient background with two anime girls in the foreground, not overtly sexual. So, someone used some restraint here. And then what appears to be maybe some Arabic text and then a sword beneath it. Let's see. Meaning, has two anime girls, spelled T-O, some Arabic texts. It represents the culture of Stwayb server, S-T-W-A-Y-B. I would not recommend going to whatever that is. It just seems like a bad idea. Okay. This is a picture that I cannot actually tell what it's of. It looks like a really blurry picture taken of like a tile floor or something like that. It looks like, honestly, an accidental picture. Like someone was taking their phone out, accidentally snapped a picture of the floor when they meant to open some other app. The explanation is skyscraper on the left side, national forest on the right side, divided by a river. We are Illinois. This person definitely submitted the wrong photo. It just couldn't be more wrong as far as it is not at all what was described. And it's like such an abstract photo. It's clearly not of anything. Pretty amazing. Let's see. 520. It looks to be a kind of recreation of that painting where God is reaching out and touching the guy. Kinda. But it's like a very meme-esque drawing style with cats instead of people. And maybe the devil is reaching down from the upper part. And in the left side is a guy holding what I can only describe as a degraded test tube. I don't know what it is. Maybe this thing is bursting out of the test tube to reach up and touch the angel cat. The meaning behind this is I made this one time. I don't think this person really understands what's being asked by the meaning of it, which is I'm dying to know. I want to know what this is. What is this about? Even if it doesn't have a deeper meaning, even if it's oh, this is a scene from, some movie or something. I want to know. Curious. I got to give them some credit. So there's a guy holding a test tube that I think this thing is bursting out of. And the test tube is blue, but the part where the guy's hand is behind the test tube, you can see just a little bit of white highlight. The guy is a white hand. So it's like it gives the test tube a very translucent effect. You gotta give some credit there. Let's see. Trying to figure out which one of these. Oh, here we go. 553 is a picture of Donald Trump. I believe this was right after he was almost shot, and the Secret Service is trying to wrestle him away. But, he insists on not being wrestled away. And the explanation is MAGA, make Illinois great again, hyphen MEGA? I don't know what MEGA is, but this is just a picture of Donald Trump. Doesn't seem a front runner, I'm guessing. Would be weird to have a president just be your flag, right? 565 and 566 are what appear to be what do you call those things? It's not a raccoon. It's not a wombat. Damn it. It's those things. A possum. It looks like a possum. A line drawing of a possum. Oh, if I looked at the explanation, possum eating an orange slice equals Illinois. Now, this is all black and white. Why you wouldn't make an orange slice orange, I do not know. It's baffling how little effort some people have put in here. I'm starting to believe the guy who's like, people don't want to work for it. Here's another deer shooting laser beams out of its eyes, 590. The two red beams represent the forward gaze of progress and the forward-looking spirit of the prairie state. And also the deer's wearing a top hat. Finally, the top hat represents arguably Illinois' most famous resident, Abraham Lincoln. Fair enough. This laser motif is very interesting. Okay, we talked about the turtle flag. Now I'm at 614, which is a picture of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all hanging out, and it says Illinois beneath them. It's clearly the, cartoon 90s version that I'm accustomed to. And the meaning is Illinois is the home to all reptiles, big and small. Now, apparently, this has led me to believe that Illinois has a deeper relationship / reputation for turtles than I previously understood. Also, this picture of the Ninja Turtles is just a screenshot from a website, probably like a stock image website. It's badly pixelated. You can see maybe a scroll bar at the bottom, and it's annoyingly barely off center. You know what I mean? It's just slightly left of the center. Political statement? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Let's see. 621. This is a tough one to describe. It's a picture of the Chicago Riverwalk with a bird that's maybe an eagle, and it's kind of the head of the bird, not the whole bird, just sort of decapitated with an eerie glow around the outside. Its eye has been replaced with an American flag, and its beak has been, it's like if you painted the current Chicago flag on the beak, and it has something in its mouth that hopefully will be explained to us. My flag is a colorful interpretation of how I view our state of Illinois as a nation. The eagle in the middle is supposed to represent the United States of America and the freedom we have, with the fish in its mouth. Okay, I guess that's a fish. With the fish in its mouth representing all of the hardships we've conquered. The Chicago flag and Chicago skyline in the background, though complex, ties the flag together with what our state is known for. It's like, this is one of the harder ones that I was 100% sure was a joke, and I'm now 90% sure is a joke. 665 is a favorite. Person just basically drew a crappy American flag and explained the meaning or relationship to Illinois. I don't know. This was for a homework assignment. Explain the meaning behind your flag. IDK. Here's one that's just a picture of soybeans. which is really unappealing. It's like not a good picture of soybeans. I feel like there are much better soybean pictures available, and this person picked, this is like if soybeans were being profiled in Weekly World News, that's what you would pick. Okay, here's one where a person is saying, retain the current design. It represents all resident and history of Chicago, Illinois. Change for the sake of change is not needed. And what they did is they submitted by clearly on a mobile phone, because I can see, they only had 2 bars at the time, but 91% battery. And they went to Amazon, searched Chicago flag or Illinois flag, and then just screenshotted the entire page. So I'm seeing like the place they can open up tabs and the refresh button. I'm seeing all of the stuff. So it's just a picture of the old flag, but they couldn't be bothered to find an image, press and hold, save, and then submit that. They just did this, which is both incredibly lazy and kind of amazing. Okay. 838, small business owner in Springfield. This appears to be the American flag with the existing Chicago flag just slapped in the lower left hand or lower right corner. My idea for the flag is simple. There is talk about being inclusive and pulling people together. My idea is Illinois should lead the way with this design and get all stated to follow. We are all American, and we should show that we are part of something bigger than just. I propose that we should lead the way with this design. Well, I guess points for trying to do something positive. 856, red and white stripes with an axolotl. I don't know how you say that, but you know what I'm talking about. Those little, are they the ones that we call nematodes or whatever? The axolotl represents the freedom to think what we want. All right. The balance represents the justice system in Illinois. He's holding a little scale. And the paper represents the freedom of speech. There's just a piece of paper that has something written on it. Possibly just the words freedom of speech. So there's an axolotl with a, hilarious smile. One thing I will say, this person did a thing that I discovered many years ago when messing around with pictures of Charlie Brown. The further apart his eyes are, the funnier he looks. And this guy's eyes are pretty far apart. Okay. 876 is kind of an American flag, takeoff, where instead of stars, it kind of has a checkerboard thing. Explain the meaning. New, better, and filled with spunk, traditional values. What's very funny about this, though, is it's, the field of stars, quote unquote, is not finished. It doesn't have the right number of stripes, but also this is just a photograph of a computer screen. And like the cursor is still on the screen. Like I can see where the cursor is, where they were going to draw the next quote unquote star. And then I guess just they were like, fuck it, and gave up. And they're like, good enough. But they couldn't even take this picture straight on of the screen. You know what I mean? It's like at a horrible angle. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. You're designing this on a computer. Surely you can save it on the computer too. It's again one of those ones that I'm like, brilliant troll or just like pure laziness. 911 is a blue background with orange text on it. Kind of looks Broncos-y. And the text says, born free, taxed to death. Okay. Explain the meaning. My flag is a snarky entry. No shit. Yearly news articles come out about the high tax burden Illinois residents face. My flag is for those who feel especially aggrieved about this and incorrectly feel they receive nothing for their tax payments. The well-known joke statement on the flag is also something I used growing up as a humorous town motto when my siblings and I would create a city with Hot Wheels on our driveway in Bloomington growing up. Colors are a nod to the U of I. Well, I guess they did something that has a nod to Illinois. Fun little story about playing Hot Wheels in the driveway in Bloomington. That's nice. But, not a lot going on there. 912 is a blank entry with all caps to both questions that says this is a test of the character limit and a bunch of periods after. So, this one being in here really does make me think like, well, I think you got all the entries with your FOIA request. Sure seems like if there was something to exclude, this seems like something they could exclude. Here is your picture from Dragon Ball Z. Explain the meaning behind your flag. Just a little troll. Don't come get me for this. I like how people think like they're going to do that. It seems like there are a lot of people who submitted flags and then were having second thoughts about the wisdom of doing that. When I'm like, if you just submitted it and then someone was mad at you, couldn't you just be like, this is what I genuinely like? If you opened it to my opinion and you don't like that, I think we should have maybe Goku on a flag. Like, fuck you. Then don't ask me. If you don't want to hear that Goku should be on the flag, then maybe you shouldn't ask me what should be on the flag. All right, here's one that I believe was submitted at a 90-degree turn counterclockwise to what it should be. But there's basically 3 white stripes, and there's a cardinal in the center facing towards the viewer, and he has mean eyebrows. The significance of the symbol on the flag lies in its representation of the cardinal, also known as the state bird of Illinois. The choice of this particular bird is intended to draw attention to America's issues with obesity. I suppose this cardinal is a fairly round boy. Not so big, though, as to be, he doesn't look uncomfortable. I don't know. Next is one that says Illinois. All lowercase on a very lime green background, horribly pixelated. This one I kind of liked. 999 is a vertical oriented flag, so that adds some intrigue. And it's an extremely exaggerated, tall Abraham Lincoln hat. Just a black hat silhouette on a white background. And the brim of the hat is normal. And then the hat height covers like the entire flag. It's kind of great. But it's very silly. And it was made by a graphic designer, which makes it extra fun. 1113 is a round design that says Monkey University, MU, and has a monkey hanging from the U by its tail eating a banana. And relationship to Illinois is a kind, law-obeying citizen, and the meaning is MU. Monkey University, I guess? I have no idea what this is. 1220 is one of my favorites, not because of the flag. We can just ignore the flag. It's not great. But the meaning behind your flag was, I was told to make this by my teacher. And you know what? I applaud this person because they're like, I'm just going to tell you the truth. I was supposed to do, someone told me to do this and I did it. And here it is. And I don't give a shit what happens from here forward. Don't feel like you have to contact me about it. 1289 is just funny because it's a picture of Abraham Lincoln, but he looks to me a lot like a leprechaun. I'm suspicious that this is a leprechaun coloring sheet for like a kid that someone is passing off as Abraham Lincoln. 1291 is complicated. There's a lot going on here. It's all badly done, but it says Islamic Republic of Illinois. And it says it's meant to capture the true essence of what it means to be an Illinoisan, has some iconic figures and landmarks from the state. I'm assuming there's a picture of a real person who I believe is a rapper, because I think there was another flag with him. And then Abe Lincoln, and then there's this multiple outlines of Illinois. And most annoying, there's a background. When you get a fake PNG from the internet and it's like the background is got that checkerboard gray and white pattern. It's got that. Also, the skyline is clearly of New York City. At first I was like, that looks like the Twin Towers. Is that New York City? And as my eyes moved slightly to the left, I saw the Statue of Liberty. I don't know what the fuck this person's doing. This is a screenshot of a post from someone's phone, and the explanation is I need something cool, $13.89. Some of it has been redacted, and it says, I think she just sent a mirror pic. I damn near something phone. I'm going to assume this is in some level perhaps pornographic. Seems possible. And that was just what someone sent. Okay, 1580 I included because it's one I actually like. I don't know about it as a flag, but I found the design pleasant. You know, it's got a dark blue background, and in the foreground, maybe lower third, is a white overlay of like, you know, wheat or something like that, a crop growing. And in the upper right corner is a red Chicago star. Pretty simple, but it's nice looking. And, you know, this is where I would put my vote. I don't think this one's going to win, but I like it. I think it's just pleasant to look at. And, you know, from a distance, it just kind of looks like the white and blue area is separated by a sort of uneven bar. And then you realize it's like a crop, and it's like, it's cool. I like it. Here's some 1694, just some fish. I put this symbol on there because I like fishing. You know, some people just use this to express what they like, regardless of the state, which, you know, you do you, man. Okay, 1749. I'll read the explanation because you can, that'll explain it. It is a deer with a cardinal on top of it with a fire behind. The deer is the Illinois state animal. The cardinal is the Illinois state bird, and the fire represents the Great Chicago Fire. What's funny about this is several ones that I think were done by kids represented the Great Chicago Fire. And that must be something they learn about in school, because so many of them included it. So that must be like a major thing. You know, I know that we learned about certain topics in elementary school in Colorado that were probably Colorado related. So maybe when you're in Illinois, they're like, oh, and every year we do our Great Chicago Fire Unit about the cow who knocked over the thing or whatever, which probably isn't true, but whatever. I just thought that was weird because it's like the Great Chicago Fire isn't exactly something to be proud of, right? Like, I mean, isn't that a little like if New York was like, let's put a picture of a plane flying into the building on our flag? Like, is that what you want on your flag, really? 1800 is a picture of a sticker or a poster that was just found through a Google search, which I can tell because this is another just screenshot. It's a design you can get from Redbubble for $15.73. And it's like a heart with a bunch of different skin tone hands going around it. You know, it's kind of like a typical image you would find if someone was like, do a diversity image, but, you know, nothing too specific. And you're like, all right. Explanation, I think it would show solidarity in the people of our state that all skin colors matter in our state. It takes all of us to love this state, so we have to stand together. Love the positivity of the message. But like submitting a design that someone else made on Redbubble. I mean, on the one hand, if this got picked and I had designed it on Redbubble, I'd be like, well, this is fucking amazing. I'm going to make so many sales. Okay. Yep. Here's the 1838 is kind of looks like the Chicago flag, but has a picture of one of Chicago's most famous rappers. Don't know who it is. I'm sorry. But it's some guy who I think was also in the other picture. Okay. This is by a 7-year-old, and I just wanted to highlight it because it's Illonois. Illinois. I mean, this kid got the S in there, but like Illinois. I don't know. They tried. They almost got there. I just, you know, sometimes maybe like give your kids some guidance. You know, I'm not going to complain because this flag has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, and then it says it has the stars, and then after the star says stars. So I'm assuming they're like it's a 5-star state. But you know, like if they want to submit that, go for it. Maybe like write out the word Illinois for them so they can copy it. 2055 is just a goddamn target symbol over a blue background. They said it's a concentric circle, a radar-like concentric circle, and I'm like, that is absolutely 100% the Target logo. I mean, come on. This one has the Chicago skyline, 2214, with a sort of silhouette of Abraham Lincoln in the back, the Chicago stars. It's got a cardinal, and the cardinal's carrying some kind of rodent. The cardinal, the state bird, is carrying a prairie dog because Illinois is the prairie state. I like some of these like are of a real like throw everything in aesthetic, and that's definitely what this one has. I just think it's hilarious that the cardinal is carrying a prairie dog. I have to assume that is not something that I don't think a cardinal is a bird of prey, and if it was, it wouldn't be of a prairie dog. But I like, I don't know. It gives people something to talk about, right? We're talking about it. It must be a successful flag. 2260. This is going to be very difficult to describe. Furthest back layer, sort of like a blue and red water liquid pattern. Then the word Illinois giant. Then over top of that, a dog drinking from a straw, like an actual photo of a dog drinking from a straw. And an Abraham Lincoln and an outline and maybe a rainbow in there. Explain what the fuck you mean by this flag. The dog enthusiastically drinking out of his Chicago cup represents how much people love the Windy City, the crown of the Midwest. Okay, the water in the background represents Lake Michigan. Okay, and of course Lincoln himself in his chair because he was born here. That's why he's on the dang license plates. It's the Lincoln Monument. Lincoln Memorial, whatever that thing's called in Washington, D.C. I like how it's Lincoln in his chair. You know how we all thought of Lincoln in his famous chair. Here's a very poorly drawn one that's kind of a similar vein of throwing it all at it. 2487. It's a draw. Now, this is all very interpretive, so I'm glad that this person did, to their credit, provide a key. It's a drawing of Lincoln with his iconic chair with the Bean and Sears or Willis Tower in the background with some wind. So they drew in some blue wind lines. I also have Mr. Lincoln's hand hold a deep dish pizza on one hand, and he has Michael Jordan's NBA rings on the other, with a missing puzzle-looking piece in his upper left shoulder symbolizing Norwich and not being a part of Chicago. I don't know what that means, but he's got a little arrow, too, showing the, I think the Michael Jordan's championship rings. I just like the idea of, like, I drew Abraham Lincoln eating a slice of pizza and dunking a basketball. Here's another similar one, which appears to be Abraham Lincoln in the Chicago River along the Chicago skyline, which is actually the Chicago skyline. You can see like the, what is that? The Prudential building, whatever that's called, the insurance building, the Willis Tower, the Bean. He seems to be floating down the river on an ear of corn and is wearing Pee Wee Herman shoes. 2981. Oh, 2981. One of my faves on some level. Okay, what this person did was take a black and white, just simple outline of a flag, like there's a flagpole and a sort of flag drawn to be wavy. And inside of it, they made the flag color a dark mustard yellow. But, you know, didn't worry about minding the lines too much. Then there's an outline of Illinois, what appears to be a marijuana leaf and a smoking joint, and the text, "We are better than Iowa." Explain the meaning behind your flag. Oh, I correctly identified this because it says, Illinois has weed and we are deaf better than Iowa. I don't care about the weed part because weed is boring to me and not something worth bragging about. But also, by the way, every state has weed. Whether or not it's legal is one thing, but to think a state doesn't have weed. But I do like the idea of shots fired at another state. You know what I mean? Taking the opportunity of a new state flag to say, like, fuck you to another state. Just kind of unprompted. I mean, maybe there's some kind of, like, rivalry there, but I don't know. Just, I guess I like the, it would be funny to me to imagine, like, a session at the, Iowa town halls or whatever, and they're just like, what? They put what on their flag? 3437 has a cardinal on it. And I wanted to highlight this one in particular, not because of the cardinal, although it is on a very wrinkly piece of paper, which I'm sort of annoyed by. But I discovered that the way you make a bird image look funny is you give it a big white eye with a little black eyeball inside. Because that's not what birds look like. That's not what birds' eyes are like. But when you draw them that way, they look dopey and great. Here's another cardinal shooting a laser eye, among other things. About the laser, is Illinois brave enough to make a bold choice? Unlike New Zealand with its laser kiwi or Minnesota with its laser loon. So maybe this is a thing that happened in other flag contests, is the laser eyes. And so other people have pulled it from there. 3484, meaning behind your flag. 2 things every Illinoisian wishes they had, and it's a grid with 4 images. 2 are the Budweiser label, and 2 are Imo's Pizza. So beer and pizza, which, is not like, they're not wrong. It's weird how many of these had brands on them, 3511 is a blue background with white text, and the no symbol, the circle with a line through it, over a letter S, and the text, the S is silent. I feel like the one thing all Illinois residents can rally around is that you do not pronounce the S at the end of the word Illinois. I thought this might be a funny flag. You know what? It might be. I mean, it is funny, and like, you don't have to convince anyone to put a joint on the flag, so maybe we've got something going there. 3633 was another one that I kind of liked. I don't love. It's not perfect, but it was a blue outline of a white-tailed deer, and then the Chicago skyline was kind of inset into the outline of the deer. I think the colors are nice. I think the idea of representing the city inside of the white-tailed deer is a good idea, because it's like you can have Chicago on the flag, but contained within the other thing is kind of nice. It's not perfect. It's not the best flag, but I wanted to give it a little shout out just because it's an idea. This person had an idea, and after looking through 3,632 of these, it was refreshing to see something that I was like, you know what? At least this person was thinking about it. Okay, here's a circle that says Illinois in it, and it's got a guy dressed in a suit, and instead of his head is like the outline of the shape of Illinois. My flag has a picture of Abraham Lincoln, okay, with an Illinois-shaped head. I see. Abraham Lincoln also has a cardinal bird on his arm. Illinois is spelled out above Abraham Lincoln's head. Here's the thing. Well, first of all, Abraham Lincoln is dressed like a goddamn magician. He's got a red bow tie and a black tuxedo. But also, I think the key components to make a drawing recognizable as Abe Lincoln are the hat and the beard, both of which are absent here. I think this concept, Mr. Illinois is a good idea, but you gotta add a beard and a hat. Here's just a 3727, a shitty AI-generated image of a cardinal wearing an Abraham Lincoln hat. Terrible, dumb idea. You should do it. Okay, 3731 is interesting. It's just kind of a drawing of a forest with a deer. But the deer was drawn on a separate page and then glued onto this, and just a tiny bit of one of the deer's antlers is off the page. And so I found this very intriguing because I was like, if they made this flag, would they have to cut out, instead of a rectangle, this like elaborate little really super annoying part of an ear and part of a antler on every flag? That would be kind of amazing. So annoying, so stupid, kind of great. 4016, Illinois, with the state outlined in red, big star over the top of the state, and the poo emoji set into that. Meaning, Illinois appears to be handwritten in crayon because for the totality of my adult life, that's the level of intellect of the state's leaders. The state is colored red and plastered with a yellow star to honor its proud communist ideologies, statutes, and administrative policies and procedures. The poop emoji demonstrates the general state of being for Illinois residents because the state has been run by children in adult, maybe even corpulent bodies with communist ideologies. Do we know what corpulent means when we put that in there? Do we know that's not a political ideology? I think it's funny how many people are talking about the state being communist. I mean, I understand like they maybe are doing some things you don't like, but I'm like, communist isn't just short for things I don't like, right? 4144 is what appears to be the logo for a business, illinoisguys.com. I'm not going to bother spelling it out because I don't want anyone to go there. I don't even know what it is. But the meaning is very eye-catching. And I was like, you know what? Somebody who works at Illinois Guys is hustling. So I got to give them that. You know what I mean? They're like, maybe one person will see this. But you know what? So be it. I'm doing it. Let's see. Here's a monstrosity, 4187. It's a cardinal's upper body. Except, how birds have freaky little legs. Imagine if you took those legs and put it on a bird as arms. The bottom half, so imagine a centaur. The top half cardinal, or the front half cardinal. The bottom half a deer. But the deer is standing on two legs and only has two legs, so it's standing upright. Additionally, it has monarch butterfly wings, which I gather is also something related to Illinois. And this horrific monster is pulling an ear of corn off the stalk. It's sort of amazing. Like, obviously, this is never going to work. But it's funny to me because I suspect whoever made this doesn't think of it as a house of horrors. But it definitely is. 4196 is just a white background with written in MS Paint, like, with a paintbrush, not with a font. Heck yeah, Illinois, baby, with 3 exclamation points. Meaning behind your flag, heck yeah, Illinois, baby. I mean, I give this points for enthusiasm. Somebody in Chicago should open like a sticker shop and sell all of these. You know what I mean? They're like, we made 4,000 different stickers and you can just buy any one you want. I feel like heck yeah, Illinois baby could become like a viral sensation. 4303 is what looks to be a cat, a woman, upright standing cat. The flag represents a well-clothed, free-spirited cat set against an Illinois sunset. It's odd to me that it's a well-clothed, free-spirited cat. I don't know how you would determine. I guess a cat is generally free-spirited. Well-clothed. That's an important aspect of Illinois. We are well-clothed here. I don't even know how to describe this. It's like a little panicked guy drawn in like marker. This flag represents Gelbo, the mascot for all the free-spirited individuals of this state. I have no idea if Gelbo is a thing. Do I dare find out? You know, do I type that into the internet and see? Oh, Gelbo is a Dragon Ball character. Okay, well, there you go. And we all have a relationship with Gelbo. 4320. The entire picture has been redacted with a black bar, as have the text relationship to Illinois and explain the meaning behind your flag. So I have to assume this was pure pornography. Here's a terrible, shitty looking gradient with Illinois and a picture of a fish on it. 4349 is interesting. So it's the trans flag. And then in the white bar in the center is the pride flag, a mouse or rat, and then a couple with a heart above them. Explain the meaning behind your flag. Gay rat wedding. I don't know what this means. And I don't know. I'm very confused if this is pro or anti-LGBTQ. Like, I don't know if I'm so out of touch that I don't understand, or if this is so poorly executed that it's like, I don't even know what you're trying. I don't know which, not only do I not know what you're trying to say, I don't know which general direction you're headed in. 4350 is also a good one. You know, it says the blue background depicts Lake Michigan. The lines intersecting, it's kind of an X across the flag, illustrates the unity and coming together of Illinois residents to create such a beautiful state. I am 99% sure this is a picture of two lines of toilet paper just on a floor, like a linoleum floor or something. The cross is like a little bit off, and there's like a weird pattern to the background. I don't know that that's what this is, but boy, am I suspicious. 4357 is a horribly blurry picture of China's flag. And you can see below it, China flag, 2 by 3 foot. Meaning behind for the flag contest. So people think Illinois is Russia, communist, and China. I guess China's communist, right? But like, okay, here's a couple of birds on a blue background with some nice clouds, and in a scripty font it says your friend, Illinois. This is also one that I think would do great at the sticker pop-up shop. There's something about your friend, Illinois, that I really enjoy. There's just something very pleasant about it that I like. Don't like that the hats on these birds are like they're a little too high. The birds are clearly not wearing the hats. The hats are hovering above their heads. That could be fixed. But your friend Illinois is kind of a winner slogan, in my opinion. The last one I picked doesn't have any meaning behind the flag, but appears to be a centaur. Oh, here's what it is. It's a deer with Abraham Lincoln's head on it. So it's kind of a centaur, except instead of a horse, it's a deer. And instead of like the top half being a man, it's just the head. And it has a blue cardinal on it in the antlers. Kind of amazing. Again, another winner for the sticker store. Well, that's it. We went through 4,465. That's how many we went through. But, I encourage you to look through these on your own and find some gems yourself. There are many, many lovely flags here. And, I hope to submit to a flag contest of my own someday. I'll have to come up with some good ideas. Hopefully, maybe it'll be Iowa. So then I can use it and tell Illinois to go fuck themselves. And when they pick that flag, whoever submitted that anti-Iowa flag is going to be like, I told you guys. I told you that this was the right thing to do, and you didn't listen to me.